Welcome to Fearless DIY Music. My name is Tristan Lass, and this is the channel where we discuss how to take chances in order to become a true creative. Today's topic is failure. We've all been there. You try something for the first, second, or 100th time, and it's just not working out. Maybe your band doesn't have a great draw. Maybe the guitar that you're modding just isn't turning out the way that you wanted it to, or is actually in worse condition than when you started. And pedals. We all know what pedals are all about, especially if you're trying to build a circuit from scratch or doing a mod to a vintage pedal. It's worth a lot of money, and it's just not happening. What do you do when things don't work out? What happens when there's failure? Well, you have to dust yourself off and try again. Failure is a huge part of success. And giving up, you're not going to have anything to show for anything in the end. You have to keep trying. You have to go back to something later from a fresh perspective. But the key, if you're passionate, is to never stop trying to get better at whatever it is that you're trying to do. It is also critical to make sure that you're enjoying yourself along the way, that you're having a good time with it, trying to have fun. Even if there are frustrations and failures all along the way, eventually something good is going to come out of it, or you'll learn from the process and get better the next time around. I know that sometimes work that we undertake, we're trying to make music, build a guitar, to build a pedal, to modify an amplifier, whatever it is you're trying to do with music, there's going to be long slogs. There's going to be parts of it that you just don't enjoy, but you have to realize that you have to do that work to get to the end results that you desire. I think that for myself, the thing that I think first pops into my mind is sanding. I hate to sand things. It is awful. It is the worst thing in the world in my mind. And when you build a guitar from scratch, which later on in the history of this channel, we'll look at some of my builds, you're going to spend more hours sanding than you could even imagine. 10 hours, 20 hours, 30 hours, 40 hours, just sanding. But it's totally worth it when you have the finished instrument in your hands, even though it sucks. Another one that I can think of that sucks, that's truly rewarding, is fretwork on a guitar. It's very detailed oriented. It requires a lot of skill, requires a lot of patience. But once you get a groove on and you figure out how to do it, you can take any guitar in the world and make it into a great player if the fretwork is impeccable on it. I just wanted to share a few things just about failure that I've experienced that I grew from it, hopefully learned something, hopefully got better at it. Songwriting, I've been writing songs since the late 80s. The first 100 songs, there was maybe 2 good ones. And then I kept writing, and I kept writing, and I kept writing, and I've written upwards of probably 2,500, close to 3,000 songs maybe. Not all of them published, not all of them recorded, but they're there, and I made them, and I got better in the process. I would say that most of the songs that I've released on my albums over the years have are good, and some of them are great, in my opinion. So it was worth all the effort and all of the flops to get to the good ones. When you're working with a band, all of my bands could probably be characterized as failures. That is why I've been a solo artist since 2008. Failures because of personnel. Failures because of timing. Bad habits. There's a million different reasons why a band doesn't make it. It's amazing that any band can even get to a stage. So you should always give bands a lot of credit if they're actually gigging and actually functional in some way. I had hard gigging bands. I had bands that I did, small scale touring with, and I would say that none of them got close to their potential. Guitars, I've had a lot of frustrations and failures with guitars over the years. I have a relatively large collection of instruments. I stopped selling things very early on and hung on to them. So I have most of the instruments that I've ever owned. I still have them. And there came a point about 4 years ago where I realized that almost none of them were functional, i.e., bad action, in dire need of refrets, electronics work, you name it. So when you're faced with like 40 instruments staring you in the face and you can't pick any of them up and actually play them for enjoyment, that felt like a huge pile of failure. And a lot of this channel is going to be my journey on rehabbing and modifying a lot of these guitars to get them back into better than new condition. And then there's pedals. We'll talk a lot about pedals here. I build them, not in a huge scale, nothing super fancy, but I build pedals. I build them from scratch in many cases. And any of you out there who have built pedals knows what I'm about to say. You plug it in and it doesn't work. You plug it in, it doesn't work. If it works the first time, it's just a moment of joy. So it's worth all the slog and the failure to get to those pedals that do work the first time. So my place here at Fearless DIY Music, is to encourage everyone to step out and do things on their own without being afraid to fail. Nothing is perfect, and most things don't work out the first try, second try, sometimes, like I said earlier, the 100th try. But all of us are capable of much more than we think, especially if we take chances. Going forward with this channel, I'll be detailing a lot of the risks that I've taken with my personal instruments, with my music, with whatever semblance of a career that I've had doing music, both professionally and as an amateur, but I consider most of what I've done over the past 25 years to be on the professional level. I also have a recording studio. We'll be talking about the recording process, songwriting process, and all the rewards that we gain by doing the work and taking chances. So let's go on a journey together, see what we come up with. And always remember that failure is a huge part of success. Take care.